Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. And I'm here to review the March 1984 issue of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and it's doing the 1983 year in review. On the cover, you got the Tag Team of the Year, the Road Warriors. So let's get to reviewing. Of course, you got that table of contents that's always there. Between the Falls, where the fans write the magazine. Ringside, where it talks about where it's revealed that Buzz Sawyer is the brother of Brett Wayne. And it talks about how for the longest time, everybody was shocked that they did not know that they were brothers. King's Court, where he interviews Lou Thesz and Bruno Sammartino, and he explains to them why he thinks the Grand Wizard should win the Editors Award, PWI Editors Award. And this was, of course, after the Grand Wizard passed away. I guess they did it because, behind the scenes, the Grand Wizard was, I know he helped the magazines out a lot, giving people interviews and stuff. He was the right-hand man to Vince McMahon Sr. So I guess why the magazine felt they had to give him the award. I guess they have to, in kayfabe, explain why they're giving the award to a bad guy, a villain. And they're trying to, and they write this great story of Bruno and Lou Thesz not really agreeing to PWI giving the award to the Grand Wizard. Like the one thing, these stories, these writers really did write good stuff, man. This is a very believable story, and these editors, these writers, they don't get the credit for the really good stories they wrote. On assignment with Liz Hunter, where she interviews Mike Rotundo, and Mike is waiting to hear if he wins for Rookie of the Year. So in Focus, where they have the t-shirt contest to guess who this guy is. I'm not sure, but I think this is Jimmy Garvin. If this camera would focus, this looks like this might be a young Jimmy Garvin, but I'm not sure. But that's what it looks like, a young Jimmy Garvin. And talks about how Stan Hansen, rumor that Stan Hansen would have supposed to have surgery, but he denies it. Back issues of Inside Wrestling, back issues of The Wrestler. Dressing Room Confidential with Stu Sachs interviews the winners of the PWI awards after they won the awards, and he talks about how Jimmy Hart tried to stuff the ballot box for a Manager of the Year. Off the Top Rope with Eddie L with Dan Shockett, and Dan Shockett just talks as does his stuff where he just talks crap about all the good guys. He talks about how Mad Dog was trying to wrestle in the midgets division. Okay, time for the achievement awards for 1983. Most popular wrestler of the year is Jimmy Snuka, which is crazy that Jimmy Snuka wins most popular wrestler of the year in the same year that he kills his girlfriend, which is crazy. It's amazing how that story didn't get out more and affect votes, but I guess majority, probably 99% of the people didn't even hear that story. So Jimmy Snuka, same year he kills somebody, kills his girlfriend, wins most popular wrestler of the year. So, first runner up is Dusty Rhodes, second runner up is David Von Erich, and third runner up is Junkyard Dog. Most hated wrestler of the year is Greg Valentine. First runner up, Mad Superstar. Second runner up, Kevin Sullivan. Third runner up, Michael Hayes. Tag Team of the Year, the Road Warriors. First runner up, the Von Erichs. Second runner up, the Freebirds. Third runner up, Jack and Jerry Briscoe. Most Improved Wrestler of the Year, Brett Wayne. First runner up, Mike Rotundo. Second runner up, Pez Watley. Third runner up, Brad Rangans. And just out of all of these, just if you look, have hindsight, look at years later, of course, I guess Mike Rotundo really would have been the most improved wrestler because Brett Wayne, he kind of disappeared after 85, 86. He was pretty much done. And Pez Watley kind of stuck around for most. Even though he was good, he just kind of stuck around his talent enhancement. And Brad Rangans just hung around in the AWA and didn't do much outside of the AWA. So if you look back in hindsight, Mike Rotundo should have won this award. Manager of the Year, J.J. Dillon. First runner-up, Sheik Adnan Al-Kaisi. Second runner-up, Captain Lou. And third runner-up, Precious Paul Ellering. Wrestler of the Year, Harley Race. This is after he won the NWA World Championship for the 7th time. First runner-up, Nick Bockwinkel. Second runner-up, Andre the Giant. Third runner-up, Bob Backlund. Match of the Year, Harley Race vs. Ric Flair, when Race wins the NWA Championship for the 7th time. There's a little color picture of Harley vs. Rick. A color poster of Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Snuka. Most Improved Wrestler of the Year, Brett Wayne. Okay, so like I said, match of the year was Ric Flair vs. Harley Race. First runners up, Steamboat and Youngblood versus Slaughter and Don Cornudle in a cage match. Second runner up is Pedro Morales versus Don Morocco, where Don Morocco won the Intercontinental Championship from Pedro Morales. Third runner up is Tommy Rich versus Buzz Sawyer in the last Battle of Atlanta. Inspirational Wrestler of the Year is Hulk Hogan. First runner-up, Roddy Piper. Second runner-up, Buzz Sawyer. Third runner-up, Playboy Buddy Rose. Rookie of the Year, Angelo Mosca Jr. First runner-up, King Kong Bundy. Second runner-up, Scott Armstrong. Third runner-up, Arn Anderson. And once again, if you look at this in hindsight, Arn Anderson should have probably won this award because he was the most successful out of all those. And actually, Angelo Mosca was like the least successful of all these people. There's Arn Anderson, then King Kong Bundy, then Scott Armstrong, and then Angelo Mosca Jr. But hey, we didn't have hindsight in '80. We didn't have hindsight at the time. You see what you see exactly at this moment. So Angelo Mosca Jr. was Rookie of the Year. And the PWI Editor Award goes to the Grand Wizard, who passed away on October 12th of 1983. He was just 54 years old. The year in review, 1983 year in review, saw the feud between Tommy Rich and Buzz Sawyer reach an epic proportion, culminating in the much-anticipated last Battle of Atlanta, a horribly bloody confrontation within the enclosed steel cage. 1983 saw the feud between Greg Valentine and Roddy Piper explode across the mid-Atlantic area following Valentine's bloody mutilation of Piper's left ear, an attack that resulted in a loss of the hearing for Piper and awarding of Piper's U.S. heavyweight title to Valentine. 1983 saw the feud between WWF Intercontinental Champion Magnificent Muraco and Jimmy Superfly Snuka boil until both men were inevitably faced with a steel cage match in Madison Square Garden, a match that Muraco won when he accidentally fell backwards through the cage, but that culminated with Snuka's super spectacular Superfly leap off the top of the cage. 1983 saw the feud between American Dream Dusty Rhodes and the self-avowed Satanist Kevin Sullivan reached a point where Rhodes lost a bloody loser-leave Florida match to Sullivan, only to be replaced by the Midnight Rider, who eventually drove a masked Sullivan out of the state of what is to be a full year. 1983 was all of this and much more. So it talks about Roddy Piper having the Piper's Palace card versus Oliver Humperdinck. The war of the House of Humperdinck versus the Piper's Palace. Talks about Ole Anderson. Talk about how Paul Ellering did not have the greatest year in '83. Well, his tag team with Arn Anderson and Matt Bourne broke up, and then for him to get the Road Warriors. But then at the time of this, the Road Warriors had turned on Paul Ellering, even though they would get back together. It talks about Bob Backlund wrestling the Samoans a whole bunch of times, even though they were never the top contenders for the championship. Talks about Jimmy Garvin having to Jimmy Garvin and Sunshine having to be David Von Erich's ranch hands for a day. Uh, 1983 talks about PWI reporting coming to World Championship Wrestling, how their PWI press conference would be on a World Championship Wrestling TV show. Talks about the very first issue of Wrestling 83. Talks about Harley Race winning the World Championship for the 7th time. Jim Cornette managing his group of people in Memphis. This is Dress Room Confidential. This is continuation of Stu Sachs interviewing the winners for the PWI Awards. Continuation from Ringside. Talks about how Junkyard Dog was pinned by King Kong Bundy for a 3 count, but Bundy insisted on a 5 count, and then Junkyard Dog kicked out before 5, and then eventually went on to win the match. Talks about how General Skandar Akbar has the new wrestler, the Missing Link, but says that his first name is Max the Missing Link. Now, I remember seeing that on Mid-South Wrestling, but then they only brought it up that couple of times, then they just totally forgot about it. I guess Max the Missing Link is like King of the Undertaker, I guess. Talks about Sunshine and Sunshine having her assistant, which was later be known as Precious, and how they were having their issues with each other. This is King's Court, where Peter King is talking with Bruno Sammartino and Lou Thesz about having the Grand Wizard win the Editor's Award that they won the first 2 years of its existence. On assignment, with Liz Hunter talking to Mike Rotundo, where Mike is hoping he's going to win the Rookie of the Year. Which he didn't. back issues of the magazine. Between the Falls, where the fans, continuation of Between the Falls, where fans write the magazine. There's about talk about how there's some people that want, fans are writing in saying how they never want the claw to be banned, and how one fan was glad that Harley Race was a centerfold, was one of the colorful PWI centerfolds. Off the Top Rope, continuation of Off the Top Rope with Dan Shockett. Ratings analysis. The official ratings, top 10. Number 1, Harley Race. Number 2, Andre the Giant. Number 3, Hulk Hogan. Number 4, Nick Bockwinkel. Number 5, Dusty Rhodes. Number 6, Barry Windham. Number 7, David Von Erich. Number 8, Bob Backlund. Number 9, Mills Mascaras. And number 10 is Greg Valentine. Top tag teams. Number 1 is Jack and Jerry Briscoe. Number 2 is Ken Patera and Crusher Blackwell. Number 3, the Road Warriors. Number 4, the Freebirds. Number 5, Elijah Akeem and Kareem Muhammad. Number 6, the Samoans. Number 7, Butch Reed and Jim Neidhart. Number 8, the Fabulous Ones. Number 9, the Mathematics. And number 10, Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. This has been the review of the March 1984 issue of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the 1983 year-end awards. Thanks for watching.